Paid updates?
Oh yeah, it's the new thing. Okay. So command / is how you comment out words. So just type something and then highlight it. So if I just I'm just hitting shift and down, that highlights the whole line, selects it. And then I hit command / All right. It's just for organization's sake. All right, so I'm going to set image box, class image box, and then I'm going to set the width to be, we'll say, let's go 50% since we were talking about that. We'll go 50 viewport width. All right, then we can go image box, and then we do the caret, the greater than sign, and then we're going to do the image element. So this is image box. So the image element that is a direct descendant of the image box, which is targeting this thing right here. Okay. Goes class image box and then looks for that image element. And then we're going to say width 100%. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can do just the width 100%, which will actually let it go above 100% if the 100% of its like pixel value. Okay. Which is totally fine. Or you can set max width 100%, which will never go above 100% of its pixel dimensions, its pixel values. Okay? There are different situations you would use that for. If you are really concerned about the image quality of the image you have, you don't want it to look blown up or pixelated or anything like that, then you would use max width, because it won't ever let it go above its actual pixel dimensions. It can go below, so it's still retaining quality, but if it goes above, it'll lose quality. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. If you don't care about the image quality, you care more about like the space it takes up on the page and sort of keeping your layout looking consistent across different browser resolutions or browser widths, then you just use width 100%, because it'll always take up the same amount of space. It makes more sense the more you use it. Okay, so that's all we need. We'll jump back over here, hit refresh. All right, so that's 50% of my viewport width. See, if we draw a line here, that's pretty much the middle. Okay. Now if I scale down, see, it always takes up that space. It's a little creepy, but it does it. Yeah. All right. Cool. You guys got that? All right. If you wanted to, you could add another image in there. And we could change that to be like 49 so that we have a margin. And let's find another image and dump it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and open show in Finder, open that folder, grab an image. I don't know. What's a good image? Oops. I'm just grabbing a second image for the sake of having two images.
You would give the second image the image box?
No, you go ahead and stick it in there.
Okay,
so,
and what if you had it like further down?
If you had another image in the... Yeah, we can do that.
Would you call it image box again?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, you would just reuse the class. Yeah. That way you don't have to write more CSS. That does exactly the same thing as the CSS you've already written. So to illustrate that, we'll grab two images. We'll do this one. I already do these two. Right. Did it not dump these in here? Oh, it did. Okay. So we'll call this one 2. Oops. W. 2, 3. All right. So I'm going to stick 3 right here. So images 3 dot, is it a JPEG? Yeah. JPEG. AJet. All right. I also, though, need to add display flex to this. All right. Come back, reload. I have 2 images. Oops.
Wait, how did you
like that? So they're right next to each other. They're one right after the other here inside image box. Okay, image box takes up 50% of the viewport width, and I added flex to image box. Flex is what moves things from being below to being on top. So if we take out flex, it goes underneath it. Does that make sense? All right. I'm actually going to change this to be 100. All right. Go flex. There we go. Yay. Okay. And then if we adjust, they stay the same. All right. And then if I want to put an image like right after here. Go. What?
My images got flipped on their side.
I
swear they weren't like this before.
don't know what you did.
What the heck?
I don't know. Yes.
What do we do if when we change the dimension of the page, our image isn't changing? It's not.
And then you set something else. All right. So everybody work on the images, and then I'll come around and give those. If you don't get it to be responsive, let me know. Okay. Show me your. Do not do inline style.
Okay.
That's called inline style. Okay. If you're trying to apply some sort of like styling or positional information in your HTML, like you probably learned in 121, don't ever do it. Don't do it. Do it all in your CSS.
So they were perfectly right under each other.
Yes. Nice. Well, they're next to each other now because you have flex. You want them to be on top of it? We have 180% of it. So that's like, so if this is 100%, this is right? 180 is then. Change your image box. There's something else anyway. Scroll down. We'll take flex out. Yeah, but that's not what we want. Alright, so change your image box. There you go. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, actually, no. Back to the. I think we're going to this. Okay. So now they're 100%. And add success. Gotcha. Yeah. This works. Oh, no. It's fine. It'll work right away. That's fine. Go back to your resume. We're going to. Okay, right.
I got it. Yeah.
Inspect.
No, it didn't work. Why didn't That would be live. It's okay, I call it a hashtag. I understood what you meant. There you go, got it. Okay, thank you.
Let me see if I can replicate the problem. Because your code's right.
Some of my images are just going horizontal.
You mean like they're just
Like they're vertical images, and then they're going on their sides. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
what? That's weird.
Yeah, no, the thing was after, I don't know. So, yeah, no. Like, if I open the image that I took it from, it's written.
Huh. Okay, so I'm getting the problem that some of you are getting with in Chrome. Who's using Chrome? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay. If you're using Chrome, you're getting problems. Chrome's Flex support seems to be a little different. Let me. Yeah.
Safari would be better. Safari's distorting mine too. So really? Face. Well then. How do I open it in different browsers? I want to try opening it in a different browser.
So if you want to open it in a different browser, which you should always. So here's something else, guys. Always keep this in mind. If you go over your code and your code is fine, like you looked at your code a bunch of times and you're like, okay, this is exactly what it should be, right? Then leave the code alone. All right, it's never going to be it's never going to be something about the picture or anything like that. It's always going to be about the browser, right? The browser interprets the code. The browser is what you're viewing the code through. Okay, so it will always be the browser's fault. Well, it'll always be the browser that's showing you what's wrong. Okay, so you always need to check different browsers. All right, like in this instance. Actually, this is a good segue because we're talk about our developer tools. So in your browser, you have developer tools. In Safari, if you don't have this develop menu up here at the top, you need to go to Preferences, Advanced, and then down here there's a toggle at the very, very bottom called Show Develop Menu in Menu Bar. You want to turn that on. Develop should show up. Gives you a bunch of tools that you can use to troubleshoot. Okay, so we use this inspect element the most. It brings up this little option bar over here that lets us sort of mouse over and shows us the different elements and things. Safari is really good about kind of knowing what it kind of thinks you want it to do in terms of rendering images and HTML and CSS. Chrome's a little more literal. There are probably some they're called vendor flags that we might need to put up. So let's so obviously this is the same page and the same code, right? Being interpreted differently by two different browsers. Does that make sense? Right? Exact same code, just looks very different. And then it might even look even more different. Where'd my page go? Oh, hey, look, I just accidentally hit Command Q. Look at me. So I get for Twitchy.
So how do you open in a different browser?
Okay, so if you want to view it in a different browser, just open up the browser. So Firefox. What? I don't care. I haven't opened Firefox in a little while. Sorry. There's also Firefox Developer Edition, which is really good, but if you're testing problems, you should probably just check it in regular Firefox. That's fine. And then I'm just pasting the URL that I grabbed from whatever other browser I have open, which is just a file prefix. So file : / and then the path to that actual file on your hard drive. All right. So I'm going to open that.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so see, Firefox looks the same as Safari, but Chrome looks different. Let's look at Chrome. Oops, I guess I closed the Chrome one too. So there's Chrome. So that's all the different, let me close this. Those are the three ways, the three most common browsers, Firefox, Chrome, and Safari, viewing the same page. Two of them look very similar, because they probably have the same WebKit foundation.
Wow. Something happened to my Safari one.
And then Chrome looks very different because it's Chrome. Let's find out why Chrome. Let's Google it. Chrome Flexbox support, I guess. So this is just this is stuff you got to do. This is what happens. Things break, and you got to find out why, and you want it to make sure it works on all browsers and all that junk. Center considerations. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that our image takes up exactly the amount of the parent that we want it to, which, because we have two images, this needs to be 50%. So that should fix our Chrome bug. Oops. Yeah. Oh no, it's, wow, it messed that up, didn't it? But is that what the other one looks like? No. What is going on? Squishy, squishy. Squishy. That does make it a little wider though. So, okay.
Something definitely happened, and I don't know. They're totally different between Safari and Chrome, and it's not even doing the. Literally everything is stacked up on one side of the page now. I don't know why. I refreshed both of them.
Does it? Okay, so for everybody that's still having issues, the big thing here that we're trying to make sure works is that it changes. Okay, that the image dimensions change when you change the browser dimensions.
Yes.
Does that work?
That works.
All right.
That works.
If it doesn't work, raise your hand and I'll come back.
But something is very wrong. Oh, my dimensions are just so.
You don't have display plus on.
Huh? Well, it works in Chrome. I don't know why. It still looks like
up your brightness so I can actually see your screen.
It still looks like this on Chrome when I
refresh the page.
See?
Scroll on. Go. Okay. Go to so that's Chrome. Okay. So show me Safari. So I think it's by default. It's just
Everything got
refresh. Okay, show me your code. No, go to Adam. You close this. Yeah, that's why you're oh, you're not.
Oh, do I have to?
Yeah, you should.
When you say update.
Your Safari isn't updated, so it doesn't actually support Xbox.
Oh.
Safari. That's your problem.
Alright. Fine. I'll do that later because it's fine.
Oh yeah, so let's do your image.
It's like ridiculous. Also, just to try it on Firefox.
So Firefox, interesting that on Firefox it's not spreading out to be the size of the browser. Video games.
Question?
Yep. Change this.
So, do I have to update the entire iOS? Is that what you
Yeah, to get Safari. Yeah. Or just work on one of the machines on the outside.
Yeah.
Hold on, it's probably no, it's horizontal. Okay. Is that Chrome? Yeah. Okay. So go back to your code. So that's better. All right. So change. So this what's happening is that
Chrome's letting the image break bound to the box, which should just change that to 50%. Or actually, you know what? So the whole thing that's causing problems is just that second image that we put in. Just take out the second image. It's not even the point of what we're doing right now. Just take the second image out. It's fine. Oh,
So I have to, like, all this is everything.
Go out to your.
So I have to update them.
I had the same problem with Chrome when I opened it in Safari. It didn't turn horizontal when I distorted them. Yeah, I was having problems with it. It's working perfectly in Safari.
Like, I haven't been able to.
Do you have anything open that moves? No, browser stuff. Okay, so it's
Yeah, it runs okay. Once it gets like that's on its side, you're like,
what is this? This Firefox?
Yeah.
Do you leave stuff? Yeah, just
That
on
looks like a
Chrome.
Snapchat.
No.
I have to.
No, you don't. You can save files and then you can close the program.
It's also, I mean, I have to update it just like you can update. So I go to
Sure.
this fun part.
Yeah, I get that.
I just have to update it.
You need to mix it up.
Yeah, so I'll just
Maybe take the time.
So Alex,
If I delete like this text, it makes the images
Right.
so that
Chrome is. Okay. Go to your app. Alright. So it's alright, I gotta
Guys, just take out the second image. We'll deal with Chrome's idiocy in terms of how it deals with Flex later.
wait, so
So right now, just take out the second image.
Is
What
that-
I want one image in that box, and that's it.
is that why there's a problem with it going sideways?
No, the problem is sideways. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. All of my images are sideways, and they weren't sideways when like if you look at the images in the folder, they're not sideways.
So they're sideways in Chrome,
They're sideways in Chrome and Safari. So I don't
and
know.
yours are too. Did you try it in another browser as well?
no, I don't have another one that works well enough.
You know, like Firefox or your.
I did it
You
in
have
Firefox.
Edge, right? Don't you
I
have
did it
Edge
in
on that thing?
Firefox. No.
Really? Edge is like the built-in Windows browser.
Oh, so the one that it gave me first was Internet Explorer, and that just crashed. So it doesn't work.
Alarm items with scribe.
Oh, sure. Okay. Okay. Are you on Windows 7?
Oh, man.
Okay, so does everybody have at least one image working that changes itself according to the browser size? When you change the browser, the image changes too, right? Okay, that was the whole takeaway from that little exercise.
All my images actually do it,
Awesome. That's what we want. Okay,
but they're not like
so the big takeaway from that then is that your image needs to be in a box, in a container. The image is always 100% of the container, okay? The container you set relative to the browser, all right? So what I should have done when I gave you two images, instead of telling you to put it inside of the same image box, was just to copy the container as well and set that up. So if we do 50 vertical width, oops,
so that's why it works on
take flex off this one,
Yeah. No matter what browser I use, they're sideways.
and apply it to image class. Do flex on this one. So I have those two image boxes are inside of another section called image, which might as well just call image section. Okay.
this is what we're applying flex to because we're going to have these two divs be side by side. And then the images that are inside of them should just automatically be okay. This should fix the two image thing. My only excuse is that it's Monday and I spent 4 hours at the Scream Baby. It's my excuse. Yeah, that works there. That works there. Now Chrome. That works for Chrome. Okay? No, you can never see my HTML. Yes, I'll show you my HTML. So the HTML that we're talking about here, okay? So this section, this is the overall container for the images, okay? So overall image, what you call it doesn't matter, okay? You have, it's the structure that matters, all right? So we've got a box. And this is image class, or image section. Okay? Class image section. Inside of image section, more markers. Yes. That pile I left in here that day. Alright. Inside image section, we've got two divs. That's a little bit more than 50%. Okay, we got two divs. So this is div class image box. This is also div image box. Okay, right? Inside of those two divs, we have our actual image. Okay. So this is our actual image. It's the element. All right. Does this make sense to everybody? This is the structure that we've set up here. All right. That's that structure. Okay. On image section in our CSS. So on the overall parent, right? So image section. The only thing we're setting on image section is display flex. Why are we setting display flex? Anybody? No? Anybody care?
It's the parent.
It's the parent. So the pictures are next to each other. Yeah, thank you, Kelly. No, not yet.
Why don't we
I'm talking about the CSS part right now. I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it. You'll get it. You'll get it in just a second.
Why don't we want to set width to 100%?
For image, you can. You don't have to, but you can. It will be 100% because the two dimensions we're giving to this equal 100%. But if you, like for instance, if you don't want to, you can. And it's probably a good idea to be explicit about it. And then, okay, so then on image box, right? Image box. We're setting width. What do we set? I think we set the width to 50%, right? Because we have two of them. Setting width to be 50%. We don't need to set flex or anything, of course, because it has one thing inside of it. And then the image itself, which is, actually, let's keep our colors consistent. The image itself, which you can either give it an ID or a class, or you can just target it. Oops, image, box. I'm trying to do syntax highlighting with dry erase markers. All right, image. This we are also giving a width, but we're giving, what width are we giving to this one? 100%, yep. Why are we giving it 100%? Yep. So it'll be a full size of the parent, which is div image box. So actually to go back to, Johnny, thank you. So what Johnny said, if all you're doing is percentages here, it's not going to work, right? Because it's like percentage of what? 50% of what? It has no idea. 50% of what? Right? If all we're giving it is percentages here and here, so this is 100% of image box, right? Setting an image to be 100% of image box. This is setting image box to be 100% of its parent, which is image section. But if you don't have a width defined for image section, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to know. You could also set this to be 50 vertical widths. So it'll always be, or viewport width. God, I always say vertical width. 50 viewport width, 50% of the viewport width. Okay? That gives it an actual number to go after, to take its dimension from. Right?
So what's the difference between percentage and viewport?
Percentage can be anything, and viewport width is very specific.
Right, okay. So, but if it's in the parent, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So then you can define percentage will always refer to the parent of whatever element you're putting it on. Always. Okay.
So it's the immediate parent.
The immediate parent. Thank you. Well, yeah, that's what parent means, but yeah, not a grandparent or great grandparent or anything like that. Parent always means the immediate parent. Okay. Is that? Yeah, everybody's good? Because you could have, you have your you have your, well, it's not descendants, ascendants, I guess? Ancestry? I don't know what you'd call it. Anyway, but it's good practice to make sure that you do one of these, in dyslexic today, one of these as an actual unit, okay? It's still a relative unit because it's still taking its number from something else, but it's an actual unit that will always give you back a real number, okay? If you just have percentages, there's no real numbers involved there, right? It's a proportion of a number. It has no idea what the actual pixel dimensions to give it, so it's just going to be whatever the default pixel dimensions of the image are. Cool? Or did I hopelessly confuse you guys again? Did it help a lot? Pictures work? Yeah. Pictures work for me. I think in pictures. So.
Is it okay to just do the viewport width and the image width?
No, you don't. I mean, I would not because image section has display flex on it. I would put. Oh, okay, I'd put it there. Yeah, take a picture of it like Kelly's doing. If you guys don't remember. It's
I
always
have
a good idea.
zero idea as to why.
Kelly, you want to teach? Class? You can.
I have zero idea on
What?
why are they like
Space?
no, I mean why are there 4 in a row instead of like 2 or something?
Don't you have 4 images in there?
Huh?
Don't you have 4 images in there?
Yeah.
That's
They're
why.
in their own div.
But they're all within a parent, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they
The parent would
how
have
would
this. Your parent has display flex on it.
how would I
Well, that's not what we're doing right now. It's not. It's still doing it.
I still don't understand why they're stopping.
All right, open up your image. So go to your window.
My question is that I have 2 images there and they're not next to each other.
And then top of each other.
No, it's just not there. So I think I did something.
Oh. All right, go back.
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to do here. And then do this one.
You got there? I mean, I had to mix up how that was what it's going to mix. Okay.
Go back to the elevation stage.
Thank you.
I did that last. Figured out how to center it.
Okay. I think this is going to fix it. Justify confidence and the center. I think that's going to fix it.
It's what's doing is not the actual dimension, so it's skewing it.
It's the horizontal.
No, it didn't do it. It didn't do it.
What problem are you fixing?
Or is it space between maybe?
Oh, because your image is
Stuff like that.
Oh.
so if you set it to like
Okay.
You can take pictures.
Okay.
you have 2.
You're having a day.
There we go. Thank you.
What's how you do it?
Try your rest of
So is it just like an image box or is it just a tag?
They didn't focus on it.
dot image, and then where you can get the display flex. And then
Same story.
just my content.
Yeah, so just go to the very
Yeah,
top.
and then just my content.
Go to the end.
Center, see if that works.
Oh,
he's recording.
Yeah,
Get rid of
but
flex
why
then.
was that?
Oh, sure. I wrote down try that.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I do wanna know why there is space between them instead of side by side. I don't really understand.
Anyone knows if you're dying.
Did I say anything?
Without sitting down and looking at it a lot more closely, I can't say.
Alright.
Why don't you try just doing 2 images in this structure, like we have up here for now?
What about 3?
No, just do 2. Alright.
Well, one of them is in a separate.
I know, but we've spent 40 minutes trying to figure out these 2 images.
Fine.
You can come after class. We can figure it out.
I just had flex in the child. I don't know if that's what would be possible. Now it works in Chrome.
Well, yeah, I think the HTML structure right now is all like Safari and Firefox are making it work, but Chrome is like, no, you gotta be good at
There you go.
Cool.
And Chrome wasn't getting the line item.
Did it do
Oh,
it?
Chrome's display support.
So you take that out.
You're still getting okay. So here's the fix for the rotated images. Okay, it's showing up now.
Yeah, they're not distorted or anything. It's
Just rotating as it shouldn't be. So open that image in just go to your plan. One of that images folder. Find that image. All right. Save it. Just save it like that.
sometimes I can go to save.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
How do I, what? Fixing the rotated image is what?
Just open it in preview and save it with the orientation you want. So sometimes you'll get a bug where you open up an image and like in your Finder or Explorer, it shows it correctly. You know, it shows it rotated the way you would expect it to be rotated. But when you put it in a web page or something, it's showing it rotated a different way. What's happening is that image is actually rotated the way the browser shows you, right? And your OS is just knowing that you probably want to see it a certain way and it's rotating it on its own. So what you have to do is just, whatever your default image viewer is, open it up and save it with that rotation. Because what it's doing is if you were to open that image in a text editor like Atom, you would see all the information on the inside of that file. And they always have a header, okay? Now, you can't usually make sense of the header other than there might be like a, made in Adobe Photoshop or something like that. But that code gets interpreted, and that code contains rotation information, color information, profile stuff, all that junk. It's just like the header on HTML. It contains all the settings for that file, right? So sometimes in there, it's got a rotation that's just different from the rotation the OS is showing you. It's a bug. Or not really a bug, it's just the way.
It's just the way.
Something's trying to make it easy for you, and the other thing's being like, no, I'm not going to make it easy. It's always going to be a browser.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know why it's spaced the way it is.
We'll deal with spacing after class.
Or,
Okay. So, all right. We got images behaving responsibly.
sort of.
Yay. That's good. That's actually a big deal. Yeah. So with those images, if you ever want to have more images showing up horizontally, you just take the number of images that you have and divide it by the width of your container, right? To get the width that your images should be. So if I have a container for those images that is, well, actually, it's never going to, it's always going to be divided by 100%. So if I have 5 images, then I know the width of those images needs to be 20% relative to the container, right?
So if I had 5 images I wanted to show horizontally, right, then they would always be 20% that parent.
That's in the image box section.
No, that would be, yeah, that would be an image box section. Yeah, because it's the image box that you're actually adjusting. You want the image itself to always be 100% of its image box. And that's how you get it. Because when you skew the browser, or not skew, but when you change the browser dimensions, you're changing the dimensions of image box. Okay? And then you want image to go, oh, I have to be 100% of whatever this is now, and it makes image get bigger or smaller. Okay? Everybody's good? Does that sort of click a little?
Is there a way to like tell the browser to have 5 images without having to put 20%? Like to fit 5.
Oh, to just fit them automatically?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't always work across all browsers.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because you can essentially just have 5 children inside of a parent and set that parent to have display flex with no flex wrap,
Okay.
and it will fit them in there.
Okay, just remove them. Wrap it.
Yeah, it won't wrap it, so it'll fit all 5 in that one line.
So, quick question. So, how there's image section and image box, do each of the 5 images have to have, like, can they all say image box?
Yeah.
It's supposed to.
Yeah, because they have shared characteristics. Yep. Yeah, if they're sharing characteristics, you just give them the same class names. Does that make sense? Yeah. Essentially, like, this image box image element is a template, right? And so for however many images you have, you just repeat this inside of the parent. Okay? Cool. All right. Oh my God, we have half an hour. Oh boy. All right, let's do links to other pages. Let's make some other pages, and we'll do links to those other pages, and then you can play around with. You okay?
No.
Oh.
Because no matter how I fiddle with this, it doesn't change.
Stop fiddling and just follow along. We'll fiddle after class. Just let go of it. Deep breath. Be like, screw you, and walk off or walk away. Okay? Just deep breath, walk away. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. I'm a perfectionist, so I like to sit here and be like, no, we're going to fix it all. This is why I talk to you guys for that hour instead of letting you work. All right, so let's do some more pages, then we'll make links to the pages, and then you can put junk on the pages. Responsive images, responsive text, all that stuff, all that jazz. All right? Okay. So let's make a folder for our pages because I like things organized. So I made I went over here to the sidebar. Sorry, I know I'm working fast. Go over to the sidebar, right click, hit new folder. I'm still recording. This is going to be gigantic. Just pages for the name of the folder. Okay. Should make a folder over here called pages. All right. You can then right click on that folder. So just put your mouse right over the folder name. Right click. New file. Should autofill up here with the folder's name. Okay. And a /. And then this can just be the file name. So I don't care what your other pages have on them. I don't care what you call them. You just need 2 pages with something on them. Okay. Text and images. So call them whatever you want to call them. I'm going to call mine, the really... What? About. I was trying to avoid about. I was just gonna, page1.html. Now the file format is really important. Okay, so that .html is, you got to make sure you have that when you do make it.
Change the name after you start typing stuff anyway.
Yes, but you want to make sure you have the file closed. It's not open in Atom when you change the name. If you have it open in Atom and you change the name, it's going to create 2 duplicates. It's going to create 2 files. That makes sense? Okay. All right, so page1.html, whatever you want to call it, should automatically open to page 1. The thing we're checking down here, though, is for our encoding in the bottom right, HTML.
To make the new page? Sorry. I tried.
Were you still fiddling with your other page?
I missed when you did it first.
Okay, so you just come over to your sidebar. Did you make a folder?
Yeah.
Okay, so just right-click on the folder name and go to New File.
Oh, let's see.
Okay. All right. So then we can just type in our HTML boilerplate. This is page 1, and I'll let you fill that in. So then just repeat that process for your second page. Right-click on the folder name, page 2.html, right? .html, super important. Should create a new one. Make sure it's HTML down here. Mickey Mouse says it's HTML. Of course, this is a 4-fingered Mickey Mouse. All right, nobody left. And this is page 2. So in here, you will need to link to your CSS. Now this is going to be different than how you linked to your CSS in your index. Does anyone remember why? Yeah.
Because you have your new pages in a different folder, so the path changes.
Yep. It's that relative path link. Okay. The relative file path. So my link to my CSS from my index page is just css/style.css, because index lives in this root folder, the main folder. Okay, and it can just go straight into that folder and then find that file. Page 1 and page 2 live inside of another folder, so they're nested. All right. Does anyone remember how we get out of a folder? .. So type in link ... css style.css. Okay. If you really want to, you can make separate CSS files for these two pages. I do not recommend it, because then you have more files that you have to have open. Right? As your project gets more and more elaborate or bigger and more complicated, then it's okay to start breaking out and doing like extra CSS stuff in certain files, like specialty files. But generally you want to keep all your CSS in one file as much as possible. We'll call it, .css style.css. So that ... says go out of the folder we're in, which is pages. So then we're in, if we go out of pages, then we're in the folder test thing. Did I do commas? No, those are dots. Yeah. Oh, I questioned it because I got new contacts on Friday, so everything's blurry again. Yay.
You got ones again?
I know, right?
What?
Yeah. So the ones I had were 2-week contacts, and I had to go back in. So Friday was 2 weeks, and I think he gave me the wrong ones because everything is blurry at a distance now. So if you see me driving, stay away.
Be careful.
Turn around and go the other direction.
Please be careful.
I'm fine. I can drive. I can drive without my contacts successfully. Should put a
Are
qualifier
you
on it.
supposed to?
No, my license says I'm supposed to wear corrected lenses, but I can do it without them.
Well, then.
You're wearing corrected glasses, right?
I had to go to
Right.
court for that.
Huh?
I had to go to court for not wearing my glasses.
Uh-oh.
It was the worst experience of my life.
Really?
I had to plead guilty to not wearing corrected
Sorry. No, it's funny because you normally associate like pleading guilty to something super serious, and it's corrected lenses. You're like, I'm guilty?
The judge laughed at me.
Yeah.
And people in the courtroom actually started to yell at me. Because people were getting arrested for DUI,
Mhm.
sentenced to a day in prison, and he was like, all right, you have a $10 fine. And people were literally like, get out of here. And they were like, okay, calm down.
Pay your fine.
It was really awful.
That's hilarious.
Did they make you go to court for a $10 fine?
Yes,
That-
teach me a lesson.
That cop that gave you that ticket was a jerk.
Yep.
He could just give you a warning. He or she might have been having a bad day. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. How did they know you weren't wearing contacts?
Because your license usually says it,
Well,
right?
I said, he was like,
Oh, you said?
Oh.
Come on.
well, no, what happened was he was like,
Story
so
time.
it says here that you need glasses. And I was like, well,
I have contacts.
I have my contacts. And he's like, okay, so go pass a vision test.
Oops.
And I was like,
Maybe you got the ticket for lying to the cop.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
no, because he tried to do a bunch of other things. And then he was
To
like,
get you out of it.
"You're a good girl, all right? You're a good girl." But then I like, and then like afterwards, he literally made my sister come pick me up. I was a block away from my house.
What?
He can't let you drive. It's a liability.
It was rough.
The world is run by insurance companies. Okay. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason why your kids and my kids will have self-driving cars. Insurance companies. The insurance companies will push legislation through for self-driving cars. 98% of motor vehicle accidents are human error. So 98% of the payouts that insurance companies have to make in terms of motor vehicle collisions are because people screwed up. Take out the people equation. Oh, they save money. It's just it's business sense for them. You know, as soon as the technology's there, which it's getting there, every few months it's closer and closer. Huh?
It's gonna take time to convince everyone.
It'll be legislation. It will be. Yeah.
How about better transportation?
Yeah. Public transportation would be nice, but whatever. I mean, essentially, it turns your car into a public transit vehicle, right?
Yeah, but it still is a problem because of how many cars there are.
You know, it's like a
No, if
separate.
they can turn that into a public transportation system, like, so you...
Anyway, this is all on the recording. I don't know what this is not. This is going to be a really helpful tutorial video. We've got Chloe's. I don't know. You probably won't be able to hear Chloe's story, but okay. So let's do the links now to page 1 and page 2. Let's stick them down. Oh yeah, we're going to do images down here, but we're not going to now. We'll stick them down here. So we'll just make section class links. Make sure it's indented correctly. That will probably be on the recording. So let's stick our links in here. So we'll say, really these, I mean, how you organize this is totally up to you. I want them to be side by side, so you're going to need to use flex on the parent. We'll just call links the parent. So we'll do 2 anchor tags. Our anchor tags are the elements that we use to say that something is a link to something else. Okay, so it's an A. See, it says anchor. Hit enter. Gives you this href, href, hypertext reference. Okay, that's what that stands for. The web is hypertext. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, technology behind transferring hypertext. Okay, hypertext is what we're doing. Why it's called hypertext, I don't remember. I'll find the Tim Berners-Lee documentary and we'll watch it. Anyway, hypertext. This little pound sign is your actual link. That's where your link is supposed to go. Like, so the path to the file. All right? What's the path to the file? Like page 1. What's the path to page 1? Who remembers? Here's page 1. I know you do. I want somebody else. Yeah.
Is it .pages, or ./pages/page 1?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I was trying.
No, you're close though.
It's page...
Space.
It's what?
Never mind.
Pages,
Yeah. Pages/page1.html. Always got to put that file format in there because that's the full name of the file. All right. Why is it pages page1.html?
Because we're already in the main CSS folder.
We're already in the main folder, not the CSS folder though.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The main folder.
The main folder for the project. The root. The root. It's called the root. Okay? Everybody, the main folder of a project is called the root. Just like a tree. Just the bottom holds it to the ground. Yeah. All right. So if you do this right now, you have a link, but it's not going to show up on the page. Why is it not going to show up on the page? Anyone want to take a guess?
There's no text.
There's no text between the open tag and the close tag. Right? Here's our opening tag. This first part. Here, and then here's our closing tag. So we got to stick page 1, or go to page 1, or whatever. Click here. Clickbait headline.
Clickbait headline.
Right? Just whatever. BuzzFeed headline. Whatever giant paragraph that you've capitalized to make people click on it to get ad money, essentially. Okay? All right. So then we just do the same thing for page 2, except we modify it to say page 2.
Yep.
I have made the mistake of setting up 2 links that go to the exact same thing side by side in the past. So don't do that. Page 2. All right, we'll leave that clickbait headline. Okay. So once you have that done, you can come back to your page. Scroll down and find your links. There, they're down here. They're tiny. This is the default styling on the links. Okay. They are blue. They are the default font of our page. They will have an underline on them. And your cursor will change when you mouse over them. Okay? You okay?
Yeah, I'll ask after class.
Okay. Uh-oh. Now I'm curious. Anyway, all right, so they're side by side, which is good because that means Flex is working. Although I don't remember setting Flex for it, so why are they side by side? Links. I did not set Flex. Why are they side by side?
You could have mine are side by side too.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Do both the pages have to have the style sheet link in them?
They should, yep. Yeah, I don't know. Off the top of my head. Oh, because I don't have width and height attached to them. That's why. They're only the width and the height of the content in its text. So if we want them to be, that's fine. They're side by side. That's good. But let's come over to our CSS now. And let's style them a little bit. Make them a little pretty. So let's say class links. Oops. Class links. We're going to give it a width because it's the parent. So we're going to say 100% of the viewport width. We're going to give it display flex. Even though they're side by side, we're going to go ahead and just say always keep them side by side. Okay. We will do text align center. That should put them in the middle. Okay. I'm going to come back and check it real quick. Did not put them in the middle. Well, yeah, it didn't. We're going to have to fix some things here in the middle. In a minute. Let's try justify content center.
Yeah, I did space around for mine.
Hey, what?
I did space around justify content.
There we go. Yeah, space around would probably work too. Until you start giving width to the links. Okay. So then I'm going to come into the anchor tags and actually mess with them. So we're going to target them through their parent. So links greater than sign. And we'll say A. So it hits the anchor tags. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the default styling. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that small for some people? Is that better? All right. So we're going to take off the default styling. Now the default styling for anchor tags is text decoration. Okay. I'm going to go none. And actually, let's jump out to a browser and bring up the anchor tag. Anchor CSS Moz. That was a cough, not a sneeze. Keep your pity to yourself. I don't need it. Okay, so here's our anchor tag. We're going to look at our anchor tag on Mozilla. So you can see some of the characteristics of it. There's lots of things we can do to it that we're not doing with it. There's a bunch of obsolete stuff that we don't need to worry about. Styling, clickable images, emails, phone links. Yeah, CSS is not showing up over here. Okay. Styling anchor tags. Ooh, W3. Avoid those guys. Let's see.
Can I ask a quick question?
Does it pertain to the anchor tags?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Or I think.
Uh-oh.
I'm wondering why you don't put text decoration in the other class links. Link class. Like why did you do the anchor? Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. I'm confused what the difference. I'm pretty positive you literally just went over this. But why is text decoration in that like class links and then the
Good.
Target A.
and not in the one
Yeah.
above.
Oh, why did I stick it in here and not just in links? You could do both, but I like to be a little more specific because this text decoration pertains to the anchor tags themselves and not just anything inside of the class, and not just anything inside of this section. If I were to put like P tag, like paragraph tag or H1 tags or something in here, I don't want text decoration none to apply to them.
Okay.
I only want it to apply to the anchor tag.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Besides, anchor tags is really the only thing that's going to have like a lot of default styling on it anyway.
Okay.
Really none of the other text elements do. They have some default styling, but you take it off in other ways. They don't have what's considered a decoration. So, all right, text decoration none. So that should take off the underline. Yep. Let's play with our man. Yeah, we could do. Let's do space between here. Oops. I'm going to give a width to these anchor tags. I'm going to make them 48% for their parents. Yeah, and then we'll do text line center for these guys. Come back, check it out. That moves them to the center. So now they're in boxes that take up 50%, right? But they're in the center of those boxes. Does that make sense? And I use space between to get the spacing. All right. Then we can now start setting font stuff. So all the font styling, all the font settings can also apply to anchor tags because they have fonts. They have actual text inside of them. So font size. We want this to be a responsive font size, so I want you to set it as a percentage of the viewport width. Okay, we're not going to get to media queries today. Surprise. So let's set it as 5% of the viewport width. Jump back, check it out. That's big. Let's change to 3. That's a little smaller, less big. And let's give the whole section some space around it. So we'll come back up to links. And are we going to use margin or padding? I kind of gave it away because I started typing. Margin. Why are we using margin and not padding?
It's outside of
It's outside of what?
the link section.
The link section. Why is that important?
Because like outside of it.
Yeah,
It's usually spacing outside of it.
right. And we want to give the whole section some space. So we're pushing the other sections away, or at least we're pushing the one below us away, and then we're pushing links down below the other one. So margin. We'll just do. Oops. Come here. Okay. Margin. Our top and bottom we're going to set to be the same, and we're going to set 0 for the left and right because we don't want to mess with how it's aligned to the left and right edges of the page. Right? We just want to add some space at the top and bottom. So the efficient way to do this is just to write margin and then give it 2 values. Okay, the first value is the value it's going to use for the top and bottom, and the second value is the value it's going to use for left and right. Okay, so in this instance, we'll go 3 rem and 0. This 3 rem will apply to top and bottom. The 0 will apply to left and right. Okay, that makes sense to everybody? Space. We're going to give it a little bit more. Yeah, 6 rem, 0. So the 6 rem, when you just give margin, like margin by itself, when you give it 2 values, it uses the first value for top and bottom and the second value for left and right. If you give it 4 values, it uses the first value for the top, second value for the right, third for the bottom, and fourth for the left. Because it goes clockwise. It starts at 12 and then goes clockwise. Top, right, bottom, left. Okay. You give it 1 value, it uses it for all of those sides. All 4 of them. Okay. Or you can just write margin top, margin right, margin left, margin bottom. right? I could have just written margin top, margin bottom, and given them both the same value, but that's redundant, right? There are more efficient ways to do it, so I just did it in the most efficient way that I could. Not what we want. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, sweet. So the rest is up to you. Like you know, you could go font style, italic. Hey, italic.
Wait, so how does margin?
How's what?
Margin. Oh,
What was your question, though?
never mind. I see it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So then they should work. So click on them. Hey, there's nothing on page 2. Awesome. But it does go to the page. Like you can check the file path, and you'll see that it. That's the important part. All right. So there are different things we can do to links that are done often. Like you can do that. We talked about pseudo selectors and pseudo classes last week. We used a pseudo selector. I don't remember what did we do with the pseudo. Oh, the to do this to get every other color, right? We use the nth child pseudo selector. To use a pseudo target or pseudo class, sorry, we set like a hover state for these anchor tags, and they will do different things to change the links according to whether or not the mouse has hovered over them. So it makes it feel a little more interactive, like the page is responding to the fact that you're hovering over the link. Okay, so for instance, remember colon denotes pseudo something. Hover is our state. So hover state for the anchor tags, we're going to go, what are we going to change? We're going to change the font size, but not the snot size. Font size to, we'll go 10% of the viewport width. We'll change the background. You guys don't have to do this. I'm just doing this to illustrate. Change the background color to, yeah, sure, why not? Oh, but not that. Not that either. Let's come over here. That's better. Right, background color to that, and then we will. Oh, we'll change the font style to style normal. Font weight. We'll make it really heavy. Okay, so these are all the characteristics that are going to take effect when I hover the mouse over the link. So by default, it'll look like that, but when I do that, it goes, yeah, what's up?
Whoa,
Right?
Whoa,
Boom.
man.
Boom, boom. So, right? It's goofy. So it happens like that, right? Whenever we hover over it. I know we're almost out of time, but I want to show you this next thing. So CSS lets us transition between these two states. Okay? Transition is really easy to set up. You set it up in the default setting, because that's where it's starting. So transition, we're going to transition everything. You just put in a couple settings in here. Transition everything, 2 seconds. Actually, let's go 1 second. 2 seconds. 5 seconds. We'll make it really slow. So let's see. And actually, you got to set an easing. So we'll go ease in. The easing we'll talk about on Wednesday. Well, we'll talk more about it when we do CSS animation. But for now, easing just controls like, we'll do ease in out. It controls like how fast the change appears to happen. So ease in out is slow at the beginning, normal speed in the middle, and slow at the end. So it's easing in, going normal, easing out. Does that make sense? Ease in would just be like ease in, or it would go normal and then ease into it. Ease out would go slow at the beginning and then go normal speed, right? A linear speed. It's a graph. It'll make sense when we actually explain it. But I just want you to know that you can transition between these states because it gives your pages a lot of life. All right. So that's that 5 second transition between those two states. Okay? Look at that. Isn't that fun?
That's fun.
Look at the glitch we got there too.
Oh, that's really cool.
Whoa. Anyway, all right, I can sit here all day and do this. It's a lot of fun. So that's transitions with CSS. What you need for Wednesday? What you need for Wednesday? I want 2 pages in their own folder. 2 to 3 images. Okay. 2 of them at least need to be side by side. All right. They have another third image on there somewhere. On your 2 pages, it needs to have an image and some text. Okay, and I'll put this on blue line. I'll make an assignment on blue line for you. Also, I'll stand next to the computer so it records it on the tutorial so I don't forget. What else? Everything else that we've done so far. So the shapes. You should have CSS on everything. Okay, style it all, make it look fun. If you want to play with the transition between, if you want to do a hover state and play with that transition between default and hover, you can. I'm not going to require that though. Okay. It'll probably take a little bit to render, probably like in an hour or 2. Is that fast enough for you?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it usually takes like an hour to render. So, okay. So this is kind of long, it's super long. So we'll see. All right. Any questions? No. All right. I'll be in my office for an hour. So if anybody wants to come by, say hi.
Text, 2 pictures. We don't need the shapes in there.
No, you need the shapes. Everything we've done up to this point, plus 2 other pages. Those other pages just need text and an image. Cool? And the links need to work. Okay? All right. Sweet.